Canada's cannabis producers and processors say they need the federal government to help out before their businesses go up in smoke. So what needs to change? Well, to answer that, we've invited back the Globe and Mail's Irene Galea, who reports on the business of cannabis. Got that out. Good morning to you. Welcome back.
Thanks so much for having me.
So the last time you were here, you were telling us about all those pot shops that we see up and down the street and how a lot of them could close.
Yeah.
So now they're lobbying the government. Here's what they are asking for. They're asking for the following. They want the federal government to streamline the review process, which is supposed to take up to 18 months. They also want a halt to the 2.3% tax that is imposed on cannabis by Health Canada. How will this change things for them?
Well, producers at this point are stretched so thin. They're paying that 2% regulatory fee to Health Canada. They're also paying a $1 flat fee for every gram of cannabis they produce. And they're also paying markups when they retail and sell that cannabis. And so any amount after that they can get back from the government in taxes, they say would make a big difference to staying afloat in a market where we're seeing bankruptcies already.
Yeah, and drill down into that for a little bit for us. How does this tax hurt them?
Well, if a company has to pay more taxes on its products, its margins are lower, so that means there's less money flowing back into the company. The 2.3% means that they might have to raise their prices in order to make a profit.
Right.
And they say if they have to raise their profit, raise the price of their cannabis, then the cannabis is more expensive.
Yep.
And then people are less likely to buy that cannabis and instead keep going to the illegal market where they can buy it more cheaply.
Yeah, you were telling me sometimes it's like sometimes 30% cheaper.
Yeah, so when the government first imposed the taxes, instead of doing a 10% tax like we have on other goods, about 13%, they imposed a $1 flat fee. So that would have made for about 10% had the price of cannabis stayed at $10 as was widely expected.
Right.
But the price of cannabis has decreased now to $7, $6, even $5 per gram, and that means that $1 flat fee is no longer 10%. Now
Right.
it can be up to 30% of what they're selling. So that is a long-held complaint, and now that the Cannabis Act review is finally underway after a year of delays, they're using this opportunity to really push that issue.
Best case scenario, what could this review lead to?
It might lead to fewer fees, fewer taxes for the industry. Initially, it was just intended to look at the health effects, but the companies say, look, you delayed for a year, we're going under, and if we don't have help now, then we don't know what the industry is going to look like in another year.
There are more than 870 licensed cannabis growers, processors, and sellers in Canada. And just in Ontario alone, there are more than 1,500 cannabis retail stores. So what we're talking about affects a lot of people in this industry. How much of the issues plaguing the industry come from the amount of players that are in it? You know, we looted off the top that every other store on some street seems to be a pot shop.
It's true. There are a lot of players, from the producers who grow the cannabis, who set up dozens of greenhouses across the country a few years ago, to the proliferation of retail stores everywhere. And that is the main reason. I mean, the price of cannabis is so low because we have so much of it. There's so much supply that it's just become so devalued, and it's hard for every company along the supply chain to make a profit. And then on the retail front, these companies are also they're also fighting and competing with, at least here in Ontario, our provincial Crown Corporation, the Ontario Cannabis Store, which adds a further markup to the product that they sell. And as a consumer, you can also buy it online from the Ontario Cannabis Store more cheaply than you could get it by walking into a retail store.
Wow.
That's another of the asks that the companies and leaders have this week.
It's a tough business model for them, for sure. Great to have you back, Irene. Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.